Okay, so I've wetted these down so they're more flexible again, and this is where we left off. We've did a 2-strand or 2-weaver 4-strand plait, and we've gone all the way up, and we've done a 90 degree here, a 90 degree here, and then we went off, and I think it was about a 45 degree, excuse me, angle, so that we're going to start weaving 180 degrees in the opposite direction. Okay, so what I want to do is I'm going to start our weave, and there's going to be one difference. Okay, so starting with the right, I'm going to fold over, make sure it's parallel with this second one here, like so, and then I'm going to take the one on my left here, I'm going to fold this over, but this time it's going to go underneath and then weave over the middle. Okay, so that's going to be the only difference to our configuration and our weaving once we've made our corners. Okay, so I'm flattening this out, getting some creases so that you can kind of see how that looks. Okay, I'll go on underneath this time. Okay, I'll do it again. Okay, fold over on my right, and if you're left-handed, do the opposite. And it doesn't want to stay. But then on the left, the top one on the left, I want to fold over inward, but then tuck underneath its sibling and go over the one in the middle that we just folded over. Okay, this will create a nice little ear or elbow. I'll refer to these corners. Okay, these corners here as ears or elbows. They will be important in the construction of this project. Okay, so I'm going to do this again a couple of more times. I'm going to cinch this up. You want to avoid gaps or holes if you can, especially if the leaves are wet, because they're just going to get bigger when the leaves dry completely. Okay, I'm folding this over, and then I'm going to fold this inward like so, but then I'm going to tuck it underneath its sibling or its neighbor, and then crisscross them in the middle like this. Okay, just like so. Do this, that, like that. Okay. Do it again. I'm gonna do this for a couple of turns, just so that I can create a foundation and establish a foundation. Okay, and I fold the left side in, but then I go underneath and over, and put your creases in. Same thing this side, I'm folding inward, fold inward, I'm going to go underneath and crisscross. Just like so. So now as we're starting to build length, this is our weave. Okay, and these ears are most important. These elbows are most important. Okay, and I'll explain as we move along. We have essentially come to the end of our weave, or weaving, or our rope, if you will. And now it's time to do is it's time to reinforce. It's also time to add another weaver. So I'm going to kill two birds with one stone. Okay. I'm gonna reach over, I'm reaching over and I'm gonna grab another weaver. I think this is a longer weaver. Okay. Sometimes what I like to do when inserting weavers when I'm weaving cattails is I like to make sure that there's a bit of a point, so I tend to snip the edges with the tip so that there's at least a little point there. Okay, that's what I like to do. And then on this side here, all I'm really going to do is I'm just going to insert this underneath our last weaver. Push that up, and then sometimes it helps to have like another tool or instrument to help slide this underneath another weaver, because cattails like to split, and so you have to make sure that they have a clean row to go under. There we go. Put these back in their place. And that's really kind of the gist of it. Kind of doing some operation there. And any weavers that you insert, you can always just snip. Not a big deal. You just kind of want to hide them. Because once they're woven in, they're woven in. Okay? This one is short as well, so we're going to go ahead and weave in another one there. Again, I like to, this is for leaving. Now what it is a lot of times you want to start, you know, this is a thick end. This is a thick end here, where my right index finger, my left index finger is. This is a thick end, so you want to insert a thin end. Okay. And so I'm going to just insert this underneath, and I'm going to pinch it with my fingers to hold it in place. But we're kind of wanting to just kind of work these in. The perfect idea is to not have splices all at the same time. So you kind of want to work your weavers kind of staggered. So you want your 4 strands to be kind of like different lengths, so that you have to insert at different times, so you have a stronger weave. And that's just in general when you're doing weaving of this sort, or plaiting, braiding is this of this type. But we'll work with it, because sometimes it happens. You know, as you're weaving, it gets good to you and you forget to insert, and so then all of a sudden you realize you ran out of space. So anyways, I'm going to hold this, and we're still in the crossing over, but I've got another weaver here that I'm working in, so I'll make sure that they are in alignment. I'm going to pick this up and I'm going to pinch everything in place with my finger. And then this top one here, I want to make sure I fold over, but it's going to go behind its neighbor and tuck over the top. That's going to help lock that in. That's beautiful. So that's locked that in. I've got a longer weaver going on. And that's kind of how we splice that in a little bit. Okay? So then now this is starting to become short too. So now I can go ahead and take the time to insert another weaver. And again, I want thin to thick. Put a little point in it. And just like I did before, sometimes you can bend the weavers, because this should all be hidden anyways. And when this dries up, it won't matter. You know, but again, neatness does count. Take this and I'll hold everything in place, but I want to splice this or tuck this underneath the current weaver as best I can to get it set in there. Because of course it all wants to come undone until you lock it down. And that's okay. I was just being neat, trying to be neat. And so that's gonna hold there. Okay. So this is the outside one here. Outside one here folds over like so. And then I want to pinch everything in place. Take the two that are on this side here and tuck them in, and they go underneath everything and over. And that'll create our weave. And actually it'll start to lock everything off. Alright, and we have one more splice to do. And that's for this short one here. Okay? So I'm going to grab another weaver. And I want to cut it in such a way that I have a point that I can shimmy in there. Shimmy this in there as best I can without undoing everything, as the leaves will allow me. That time that worked out pretty well. So now I've just added extensions to my weavers. Okay? We're not worried about how pretty it looks at the moment. Okay? For now we're just trying to connect these in there. So I'm going to take this one, fold it over, and then take the top one that we've already spliced in, fold it over, but then tuck underneath its sibling and over the top of the middle one. Just like so. So that's starting to lock everything in. I'm going to do that one or two more times just to make sure everything's locked into place. And then, once we're done with that, okay, we can do some cleanup. We can do some cleanup, and then we'll get to add another weaver. Okay? So right now I'm taking this and I'm just snipping where I see fit, where it looks like it's going to be kind of aesthetically unappealing, like so. Alright, and now I want to add my fifth weaver. Okay. Our pleating is about to change. So what's going to happen here on my right side, okay, is I'm about to fold this inward, but now I'm going under, okay, my sibling leaf. Notice, sibling leaf being the one right underneath it. So I'm going to fold this over, and now I'm going to go underneath it, just like so. And I'm going to keep it there, just like that, for a minute. Okay? On the left side, my left side, this one here, okay, I'm going to continue doing what I was doing. I'm going to fold or crease inward so it is parallel with the far right one, like so, but I'm going to tuck, and I'm going to hold everything together, everything underneath my sibling, and I'm going to weave over and under like so. Keeping everything flat, because it's a flat braid, meaning it's a flat plait. P-L-A-I-T, not P-L-A-T, a silent E, right? So essentially, and this is good that I have this little anomaly going on here, because this is where we've spliced everything in. This is also where the leaves are thin. But this is what I want to do. We want to have ears on both sides. Okay? We want to have ears on both sides. Notice I've got two over here, and I got 3 on my left. All right, I'm going to do this again on my right side. All right. Actually, I'm going to start on my left side, only because the idea is to always keep it balanced. So if I have 3 over here, I want to work to having 3 over here. So I'm going to fold this in, tuck it underneath its sibling or its neighbor, go over the top, the next one, and now when I tuck the right side in, or fold it in, again, I'm going to go underneath its sibling or its neighbor, and then over the top. Okay? So we've kind of changed our pattern just a little bit, meaning we're going under instead of over nowadays. All right? Once we lock this pattern in, we're going to snip this off, and it'll be hard to see in the weave. Okay? Like this. I'm gonna do it again. Okay. Now, personally, I like to work right to front, but or right to left, but I'm gonna work left to right. So again, I fold this in. I'm using my thumb to tuck this and create the crease, so this parallel with the right side weavers. Okay. I pick it up. I pinch it with my fingers. I tuck underneath. I fold over top the next one, and now I'm ready to receive the weave from the right side here. Okay? So I'm going to tuck this over to give a crease, and then all I got to do is just take this leaf and really just tuck and over tuck, behind and over the top. Okay? So weaving is actually really very simple. It's really just over, under, over, under. If something's over, then you do something wrong, or you don't have the right amount of leaves. In this particular case, you start to have this 5-strand plait, like so. And again, this is locked in, so all I have to do is snip this, and it'll more or less be hidden. It's not coming out. Okay, and we've widened our plaiting or our braid. Okay, and this is going to be the basis of the body of our project.